In 1812, President James Madison faced a nation on edge. America was still young, independent but uncertain of its place in the world. 3 decades after the Revolution, the question remained: could this new republic truly stand as an equal among the world's powers? For years, Great Britain had tested America's patience, seizing U.S. ships, blocking trade, and forcing American sailors into their navy. To Madison, this wasn't just disrespect. It was an assault on America's sovereignty and dignity. Diplomacy had failed. Negotiations brought promises, but no peace. Britain continued to treat the U.S. as a lesser power. At home, the people were divided. New England merchants opposed war, fearing economic collapse. The South and West, however, demanded action. In Congress, the fiery war hawks, led by Henry Clay and John C. Calhoun, urged Madison to defend national honor and strike back. They saw war not only as justice, but as opportunity to conquer Canada, crush native resistance, and prove America's strength. Madison was cautious. A man of intellect and law, he preferred reason over conflict. But Britain's arrogance left him little choice. On June 1, 1812, Madison addressed Congress, listing years of British violations and asking for war to defend American freedom. 2 weeks later, Congress approved. For the first time in U.S. history, America had declared war, not for survival, but for principle. The War of 1812 had begun, and the United States was woefully unprepared. Its army was small, its navy tiny, and its finances stretched thin. Early campaigns against Canada failed miserably. Poor leadership and disorganization led to retreat after retreat. But on the seas, the tide was different. American ships, like the USS Constitution, Old Ironsides, shocked the world by defeating British vessels. These victories inspired the nation. For the first time since the Revolution, Americans felt pride, and proof that they could stand tall. Still, the war was brutal. British blockades strangled trade. Native American alliances led to fierce frontier battles. By 1814, Britain launched a full-scale invasion, burning Washington, D.C. to the ground. The White House and Capitol were reduced to ashes. President Madison and Dolley Madison barely escaped. Before fleeing, Dolley saved George Washington's portrait, a symbol of endurance. As the Capitol burned, America's spirit was tested. Many feared the experiment of democracy might not survive. But instead of surrender, the nation rallied. In Baltimore, citizens held firm at Fort McHenry, enduring 25 hours of bombardment. Watching from afar, lawyer Francis Scott Key saw the flag still flying and wrote, "The Star-Spangled Banner." By late 1814, both sides were weary. Diplomats met in Ghent, Belgium, to negotiate peace. The resulting treaty restored all borders, but resolved little. Yet, fate wasn't finished. Before news of the treaty reached home, General Andrew Jackson won a stunning victory at New Orleans. The triumph made Jackson a hero, and turned a war of frustration into a story of pride and perseverance. When peace finally came, the United States had survived and gained something far greater than territory: confidence. The War of 1812 became known as the Second War of Independence. It proved America would defend its rights no matter the odds. Politically, it deepened divisions, especially between North and South, but culturally, it united Americans under one identity. Madison had gambled on the nation's courage and won. The Constitution he helped create had been tested, and it held strong. By the war's end, America had new heroes, a national anthem, and a stronger sense of destiny. For Madison, it was vindication. His cautious intellect had guided the country through chaos and into a new era of confidence. He left office in 1817 knowing the Republic had survived its first great trial. America was no longer fragile. It was resilient. The War of 1812 wasn't fought for conquest or glory. It was fought to demand respect. And that respect was finally earned. James Madison ES decision proved that sometimes leadership means choosing the hard path, not because it is easy, but because it's right. From the ashes of war rose a united people, stronger, prouder, and more determined to defend the promise of liberty. The War of 1812 ended as it began, divided, uncertain, and costly, but it defined a generation and shaped the soul of a nation. James Madison, the scholar-turned-wartime president, didn't just protect the Republic. He proved it could endure. If you found this information valuable, please go ahead and subscribe, like, and share. Thank you for watching. Be sure to check out the other interesting tales of the rest of the presidents.